Carolina in front of a live studio audience. Please welcome our host, our President CEO, Andy Albright.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much. Y'all grab a seat. We got a rocking segment here. Thank you. Y'all welcome to the TWC, the Wednesday call. Welcome to all the ACT participants. Got a million things going on with the Alliance right now. One is you are invited to go with us on an all-expense-paid cruise to Alaska. It's a ridiculous 5-star cruise. Janina Wilson just won the trip already. Congratulations, Janina. Paul and Tamara Roberts just won the contest already. So there are people winning, and the year's not even halfway done, and you can win too. It's come with us. I mean, if nobody's invited you, you're invited. We'd love to have you. You're capable. You can do it. You can come with us. The ACT, how's it going so far? Yeah. There was somebody in here from the West Coast that got invited last second. Teresa, is that it? Is that you? Good to see you. You're here? Is it worth it?
Oh, it's worth it.
Good. You learning?
Yep.
What's been your best part so far?
Learning about my weaknesses
Learning your weaknesses and what?
strengths.
And strengths. So that's Jeff Bright, weakness and strengths and who you are and which way you lean.
SWOT. Yeah.
What's that?
SWOT.
The SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Is that right? Good. Had you ever done that before? How many of you have never done anything like that before? SWOT. Okay. I want y'all to get rich. Okay? Does that make sense? Like, that's not I want you to be happy. Like, if I had a choice, I'd rather you be happy than rich. I was happy before I was rich, but I really wanted to be rich, so I was happier when I got rich. For you, you might be sad, and you think, when I get rich, I'll be happy. I'll tell you, probably not. You'll probably be the same. Some people, that's very disappointing because they think money's going to solve their problems. Money just gets you there in luxury, and you have better drinks and better food and better company. You don't have to hang around the poor people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with poor people. I just don't want to hang around them. I'm not mad. I mean, people always go, rich people are mean. I go, not my experience. Not my experience. I was in Utah the other day. Last week, I was in Utah, and two of my crazy rich friends were sitting across from me, and they're crazy smart. Crazy rich, crazy smart. And there was this lady talking, and my crazy rich friend was talking about in Louisiana when the floods hit. Y'all remember when the levees broke? Do y'all know anything about this? In Mississippi? What happened was it wiped out people's homes, and there wasn't a lot of publicity, and it was a little anarchy down there. People were rushing grocery stores and knocking down walls. They're criminals, right? But they were trying to feed their family, and he was saying that what came out of these people was really bad, right? He said, but he felt sorry for him. Do y'all know anything about this? Like, it wasn't really publicized a lot. I was down there a couple months back, about 4 months back, and people were telling me what happened. I was like, yeah. So this lady's like, well, in New Jersey, we had the same thing happened, and our home was, it was flooded, and but fortunately, everybody in New Jersey they were really cool with it. Nobody got upset. So my boy Chad, he looks at her and he says, imagine that. Y'all's vacation home got flooded. So you went home and said, oh, well, let's open a bottle of Camus. Do you see all the contradictions in there?
Yeah.
Like if it's your only home. This was her vacation home. Now, I'm not against her, but do you see how she was not angry, mad, didn't rush? And I'm not justifying the people that rushed the food lion and killed people and beat up people and shot others for bread. That's not okay. But I'm just, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether she's a happy person, but she did have a bottle of Camus. She did have another place to stay. She had the money to fix it up before she got the insurance check versus the other people who had to wait until they got the insurance check to fix anything. See all that? So all this is just like, I would like for you to have the option to be rich and miserable, but I'd also like to give the option for you to become happy and then get rich.
Right.
You see all that? There's like all kinds of contradictions in there, but it's a big deal. I would like for you to be happy. I want you to be wealthy. It's a lot of people think when they join our business, we're just talking to them about being rich. And I'm going like, it's more than that. It's the full happiness. Can you be happy with your life? Okay, so I will tell you this. There's a family reunion that we're going to have July 18th through the 21st. You're all invited. Because now that you've came in here and froze with us, you are invited to be a part of the family. They're doing a fantastic job with the chilling factor.
Yeah.
See if we can get that more like 67 or 68, not 60. Ask them that. That really makes sense. I mean, it's comfortable. I like it. I just like it at 68, not 60. Y'all okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You're welcome. Thought I had covered that earlier, but maybe I didn't. And it's people don't get stuff, okay? What I do is I turn it down low. In the green book, you turn it down to 65 so that when 100 people come in, it gets it up to 70 or 72. Here's the way people interpret it. Let's put it at 50 so that when people come in, it gets to 65. And I'm like, that's not the intent, and that's not even, I'm not kidding you. I'm not mad. You just understand is, I'm just trying to explain it to my staff one more time how this works. We put it low so that it warms up when all the people come in. It's not meant to stay, it's in the book. Like it literally is in the book, but it's misinterpreted. So they think, oh, we need people to complain, and that'll be funny, and then they think it's funny, and I go like, our goal is not to be funny. Does that make sense? Like being funny is cool, but that's not the goal. Does that make, you understand what I'm saying? Does that make any sense? You understand what I'm saying, Spencer? It's just like they think it's funny. Go, ha ha, they're complaining. I go like, that's not the intent. The intent is not to, the intent is you don't get it up to 80. Because if it was 80, then people fall asleep and are sweaty, and you say things like, there's a lot of people in here. I go, if you'd have turned it on 65 before they came, it would have warmed up. You see how all this is just contradictions. You with me? It's just the whole thing of life. All right, so what I'm going to tell you is a little complicated, but it's also, on the other hand, it's very, 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 very simple. Okay? Happy and all right. So here's what I promised. I promised to answer these questions. Would you like for your agents to get started faster? Would you like for your agents to stay going longer? Would you like your agents to start working in their business regardless of problems, distractions that they face? Y'all heard that, right? Okay. Some of you may be thinking, I hope you are, what about me? How would I like to get started faster? How would I like to stay going longer? How would I like to start working in my business regardless of my distractions and my problems? So if you promise to look at you and others, then I will continue to charge forward. Cool? Okay, I do want to stir up a little junk. The month of June. Well, this is a week. The week of June 8. Issue paid through June 8. So June 1 to June 8, we have had the number one producer so far this month is Kevin Tate. He has 20,000 point credits toward Alaska. He wrote one annuity. So my calculation is that was a $200,000 annuity. Jan Miller has written an annuity and a life app, and she got 17. This is this month. 17,000 points. Mike Hartlib, 17,000 points. Abel Verestigi, 13,000 points. Megan Alleman has issue paid 10 apps for 11,000 points. Y'all hear what I'm saying? This week. This week. This is the way it goes down, people. Cuz has issued one big app for 10,000 points. Pedro Hidalgo, one annuity for 10,000 points. Billy Crane, 3 apps for 10,000 points. Eric Lardy, a big annuity for 10,000 points. That's the top 10 this month, which is only 1 week. What I'm saying is, how would you like this to be your people, or how do you get people there, or how do you get there? Like, and I mean, I'm explaining to you, I'm not stuttering, I'm not saying this might do it. This is absolute 100% guaranteed to work. Okay? All right. Okay, year to date. Would you be interested in year to date numbers?
Yeah.
Leading the country with only 17 life apps, 7 of those are IULs and 2 annuity apps is Brandon Beal with 242,000 points. Number 2 in the country, listen to this, no annuities, no IULs, 132 apps.
Right.
So one man 17 apps, the other one's 132, is Robert Wilson. Okay? So Robert Wilson has 178,000. Brant Swindell has 100 apps, 8 annuities for 167,000 points. Mark Hutchinson has 36 apps for 164,000 points. Minerve, and by the way, Mark Hutchinson has 2 annuities. Minerve Profil has 5 annuities and 114 apps. She's number 6 in the country with 160,000. Michelle Alleman has 142.5 apps issued, which means she split half a case for somebody. So 142 apps, Michelle Alleman for 152,000. Her daughter, Megan, is number 8 in the company with 149,000 points, 148 issued apps. I think that's number 1 most apps in the country right now. Her daughter, she got to be proud of her. And 1 IUL. Shannon Barnhart, 76 apps, 2 IULs, 1 annuity, 127,000. Janina Wilson is number 10 in the company with 99 apps, 4 IULs, and 2 annuities. That is very balanced. Way to go, Janina Wilson. That's pretty strong for the top people year to date. So number 10 has 119,000. So you get. This is more than enough to win a cruise. And by the way, this is not bonus points included. Okay, there's no bonus. This is just straight up points. So all of you brand new, you can earn up to $50,000 bonus or 50,000 points in bonuses. So you see how if you want to win the cruise, you can win. We're going to start posting these leaderboards on Band. And you'll notice a lot of, we don't put your full name until you've achieved a certain level. Agency managers will get full name, and we've got reasons, and we can get into that with you, but I think it's cool that we're going to put them back up on Band again. Okay. All right. I got a lot to cover, and I want it to make simple sense. Like, this is a real life formula on how to get people to get through this. We've got a young lady right now, something happened to her, and she's having a hard time getting back on the bandwagon, back on track. We've got an older guy who had about 4 things happen to him. And when you're older, you will notice they come in 3s and 4s and 5s. When you're young, it's just like, oh, you ain't gonna believe I broke up. I broke up with somebody. You're like, oh, you had something happen. But when they're old, they're like, my sister got cancer. My mama died. I broke my foot. And it ain't healing. You with me? That's why I do younger people, because they don't have as many problems. But to think they don't have any problems is cray-cray. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so first point, success. I know society has a problem. Our society, America. They got this thing going on where we don't keep score. I don't like that, Terry. How about everybody gets a trophy? I mean, there's little league games going on. If the parent tells the score, they get in trouble. They could get kicked out of the league for talking about what the score is. No scores, no winners. Everybody gets a trophy. Well, how do you know if you're great or not? How do you know you're any good? Yeah, you don't. That's why I don't like it. So, on the other hand, we have a different situation where we say, my kid got 10 touchdowns this season. Yes. That's a score right there. My kid hit 425. My kid, Spencer, he has a national championship ring. He won national champion in ice hockey. My kid got a scholarship to a D1 school. See, I like it. Right? Like I'll say it like this. I got a Lambo in the basement. Like, how about that? You're like, you ain't doing nothing. I got a Lambo in the basement. I've been to 49 countries. Can't take that away. I mean, how do you say a guy's not winning? I gave $5 million to the Albright Entrepreneur School, and they got my name on a building, the Albright Innovation Hall. If we were to keep score, would you want to win? Do you want to keep score? Like, are you a competitive person? Okay. This is what the Bible says about excellence. Or I should say, the Bible calls for excellence. This book, the house book, this says excellence requires you to be deliberate, to be proactive, to set the bar high, and invest in your capacity. It's on page 24. So this is excellent. This is winning to me. This is excellence. Let's go back to getting your guy started fast, getting him to work through problems, and getting him to work longer. So if it ties back into excellence, this says teaching excellence is teaching these 4 steps. Be deliberate, be proactive, invest in your capacity. Earlier in the book, me and Jeff put together a formula for excellence, and it says, show up, have a winning spirit, and have a contribution. All this is in the book, so it's going to be hard for you to keep up if you're trying to write. A lot of times when I talk to people, they're trying to get the details, and I'm like, bro, if I can get you to get the feeling, I'm going to be happier than if you remember the formula. Just the feeling. So you understand there's a conflict out there in the world. Like, if you start trying to win, people will tell you it don't matter. And I am telling you, it's up to you whether it matters. And if you don't want it to matter, then it don't matter. But I wanted it to matter. Does that make sense? Like I wanted to do this. My daughter has graduated with a master's degree, and she has 0 debt. No stress about that. Does that make, and cars, and the house. Like financially, I want to help her. I don't know what she'll do with it. I hope she stands on my shoulders and grows higher. I don't know, but I don't want them to not have that. I want to take away that excuse. I mean, let me tell you my situation. I go like, all right, tell me your excuse. But it's their situation. They're under. It's their, and I'm just saying, if you don't care about losing, then you shouldn't be upset about your situation. Because if you live in America in a single wide with no underpinning, and if you got tires marking where to get in your driveway, you're in the top 1% wealthy people in the world. You got, yeah. Single wide trailer, yeah. Top 1% wealthy in the world. So you shouldn't be complaining. I just don't like my house to tilt when I go to the bathroom. Does that make sense? I have become spoilt, and I plant it that way. I planned to be spoilt. I like two bathrooms, to tell you the truth. And I don't like the commode in a big open room. I want to be able to close the door and close the door and close the door. And do my thing. That's spoilt. I like it like that. Hotels we go to now, spoilt. I don't like little rooms. I don't like little rooms. So I like big. I like couches and tables, and to me that's winning. Okay? And people go like, what about, your wife? I love my wife. What do you want me to do? I love my kids. What do you want me to do? I love my mama. What do you want me to do? I wanted to be able to buy stuff for my mom. I wanted to be able to give her a Cadillac. I wanted to be able to pay stuff for her and do. That's what I wanted. What do you want? So that's the first thing. Society has an identity crisis. Do you? I ain't had none. I'm like, I don't care what nobody says. I want that stuff. And people say like, you're materialistic. I go like, I got a textile degree. I like silk. You and me? I like high dollar. I like the expensive as you know what wool pants. Like you feel them, you don't even know they're wool because they're so God blessed bad. I don't know what to tell you. Ask my preachers. I give them material money. You know what I'm saying? You got good intentions. You throwing down on them. I meant to give. I wanted to. I tried to. Well, I know they appreciate your good intentions. Does that make sense? First of all, it's not having an identity crisis. This is what John Wooden said. Success is peace of mind, which is a direct result of the self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to become the best that you're capable of. So it's that I'm doing everything I can. I'm fighting. I'm doing everything I can. The self-satisfaction of knowing that you threw it all in. That's what old John Wooden, if you know who he is, that basketball coach. The Bible says that excellence given everything you got. So how about this one? Whatever you do, I like that word do. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as if working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord you are serving. That's Colossians. Yeah. Okay. So, if that's what I'm doing, then it eliminates me have to worry about what other people think. And if I'm making a difference and people continue to send me these letters and come up to me crying and tell me what they had and what they have now, that's what I got to go with. So it's eliminating that's the first thing. Okay. So if God is about being the best and all your talent in, the way I interpret that is God is in 24/7. Right. Are you? Like all in. Okay, so we are, to make us feel better, we're talking about them. How do we get our new agent going and how we get our new agent going, right? We're not talking about ourselves. On the other hand, if you're saying, I'm an agent to somebody else, so somebody hired me and I'm not going fast, I'm not going longer, and I'm not going regardless of distractions. So if you can do it and see this thing in two dimensions, it's you trying to get somebody started, but hello, you are a you with somebody trying to get you started. I want to stop and talk to some of you guys because I'm like, I know you. I want to know how things are going. I really care, and I want to get a hold of you. I'll just tell you, I got a lot more time the next 3 days that I'm going to be able to shake some hands and get to know some people. Okay, what I'm going to talk to you about is called three-dimensional training or three-dimensional coaching or three-dimensional getting them started. All right. Now, the email that went out, and I meant it, said we're going to talk about get them started, goal set, and go serve. I wrote a blog on May 19th of 2014. So you can go to andyalbright.com and read this blog. But I am going to talk about get started, goal set, and go serve. I don't know if I'm going to get to it today. If I don't get to it today, then I'm going to do it not next week, but the week after. Next week, Paul Roberts is going to be here. Yeah, he's about here Wednesday, and he's going to be here Friday. So, and I might, if I can get to it, but I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to hammer through, and I've kind of, okay, so, but I want you to know where this blog is. I was studying it, reading it, thinking about examples, and I'm like, this is good stuff right here. Okay? But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to plow the dirt. I'm trying to get your mind right before you get into this. And then this is the three things. We call it GS3. It's how to get a person started right and fast and all that stuff. Okay, so if I don't get to it, you need to write that down. May 19th, 2014. It's called GS3. And I've got a lot of blogs. You should read them all because I mean them all. All right. Benefits of teaching in 3D. Now, I haven't told you what 3D is yet, but I'm going to tell you the benefits of it. People learn their skills quicker. And I will tell you this. My cousin's name is Jane Albright, which is not my wife, whose name Jane Albright. And Jane Albright mailed me this book in 2014. And she endorsed it, her endorsement's in there, Jane Albright, head women's basketball coach, University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And she said, this is a ridiculous book. And I have been teaching it, preaching it, studying it. To be crystal clear, I feel like this is the way I've built my life. But these people, the way they write, helps me understand what I'm already doing. And it confirms it. And what I've learned from multimillionaires, what I learned from John Maxwell, what I learned from Bill Britt, what I learned from Tim Goad, they crystallize it in words. Like a lot of the things that are put in here, I hope you're already doing it, but we're trying to put it in a formula so you don't second guess yourself. That's it. So where you're wondering if you're right, because wondering is not going to get you where you want to go. Are y'all familiar with that story of wondering is not where you're going to get you where you're supposed to go? Because I always say that, and I get people, I'm thinking, I don't think they know what I mean. Sometimes I say, I don't want you to wonder, like my boy's great-granddaddy did, Katz's people. And people don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. I've never done anything like this in front of this many people. So please try to get down your spitefulness and your reactionary system. But I ask people, I'm not a smart person, but I've been on earth 55 years and I know a lot of people now. Like, I know how long it takes to get from New York City to Johannesburg, Africa, once the plane takes off. Like, you're in the air, how long it takes. Like, it was only, when I was in school, I would have said it's about that far away. Because on the map, that's how by far how Johannesburg is from New York. You know what I mean? But when your plane takes off and you're flying for 15 straight hours, now you start to get the idea. Does that make sense? Like, so what I'm going to tell you, I don't mean to offend. I didn't know this either. I ask people this as I go to hot spots around the country. I said, I'm not trying to say you're a genius, and I'm not trying to say you're a moron, but do you know what a Jew is? And they go, you can't say that word. And I go like, I think you're okay saying it. I've checked it out. I've asked around. Do you know what that is? How many people I know exactly what one is. Now, how many of you know that Hitler killed a lot of them? Okay, how did he decide if he would kill you or not? Like, what was his method of determining whether you are one or not? And, I'm not asking you to say it. I'm asking you, do you know? How many I know. I stand up and tell everybody, raise your hand high. Look around. Look around. Raise your hand higher. We got one. Like, y'all understand, everybody's heard of this, right? Everybody heard of this? Hitler trying to take over the world. Didn't he cause a world war, maybe? Yeah. Like, one of the two he started. But you don't know why he was killing them and how he determined what they are or not. Don't they just blow your mind? Like, wait a minute. Is that important? Well, if you are one, and if you care about your great-great-granddaddy, does that make sense? Y'all follow what I'm saying? Katz is one. You go, you can't call him that. And I go, he is. Like, does that make sense? Like, it's like, I am on stage. You can't say you're on stage, but I am on stage. Are you sure? Does that make sense? What's your name, sir? Josh. You think 100% you could tell me. Nobody else raised their hand. Terry Edwards, I know you know. He said, don't be sure. He's not 100% sure. You think you know, though. Terry, Tia, you think you know? Tia says no. You think you know, Teresa. Who else think they know? You think, what's your name? Veray. Where y'all from? Veray and Jake? I just met y'all. Where did I meet y'all? Las Vegas. Good to have y'all here. See, I'm going to stop and just start talking. Okay, you think you know. But Jake, you're going like, I don't know. I'm not embarrassing myself. Your mom is one? Well, I got a question for you. Stand up, Jake. Veray, stand up for you. Okay, get this. Listen. So your mom is one. You think you know, or you 100% do know? You did what? You read it in a history book. Okay, so your mom is one. Does that make you one? So, can you turn on the red mic, Billy? Try again. Start talking again.
Yes.
Yes. So that makes you one?
Yes.
Do you think that makes him one?
Yes.
What if he decides not to be one, Veray? Can he not be one?
Yes.
What say ye? No. Nope. He says no choice. Once he is one, he is one. And so I'd say sit down. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, it's just crazy. What's the definition of you? So what do you think? Do you think he says no? You can't change. Do you think you can change?
Yeah, I was baptized Christian a couple of years ago.
So does that make you not a Jew?
No.
He says no.
Oh.
You say no. What say ye? What say ye? I like that too. What say ye? Y'all like that part?
About
yes or no? If his mama was one, does it make him one?
Well, in the Jewish culture, by
does it
the
make him one or not?
Yeah, it's race and religion, technically.
It is. So,
yes,
so can
yes,
he change?
Well, he can change religion, but as far as
what?
ethnicity, no.
Oh, now you done put it into the ethnicity part.
Right, yeah.
He done put you in the ethnic. You know what that man did? It's true though, ain't it? It's true. It's true. Say ye history book reading guy?
It's both. Race and ethnicity.
Okay, let me explain something to you. Who knows 100%? Because if you had a cat, tell them. It follows the bloodline. It's all about blood. Who's the great-great-great-great-great-granddaddy? Who's his name? What's his name? Huh?
Israel.
She says Israel. That's a country. It's Abraham. So Adam Katz's descendant from this guy, which makes him a Jew, which is not good or bad. It just is. Does that make sense? Isn't it crazy that we don't know that? So what Hitler would do is, if your daddy wasn't and your mama was, that makes you 50% bloodline. And then if your next daddy wasn't, your mama was, that makes you 25%. And then he had a cutoff point. So they'd trace your ancestry back, and if you had it bred out of you, he was good. But if you still had a certain percentage, if anybody knew that percentage, that would, like if you had I think it's like 22, or if you were 18%, poof, kill you. You got no. I'm telling y'all, that's the way it went down. Is that just crazy to think that we don't know that? You go, Andy, what difference does it make? Well, a lot. According to the world. Hello, is anybody watching the news? Trump just moved the capital of Israel, and dude, that was people going freaking crazy. And the 4 presidents before him have promised to do it, but none of them did it. But he did it, and then people are mad about it. But he did what, is that crazy that he did that? And then some people defend them no matter what, and then some people hate them no matter what. Like this is, like I don't tell y'all this, but this would make the world go round. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. You say, well, all this come out of you saying, please don't wonder, straighten it out. And then you went to Katz and the Jews. See, what happened was, these people were slaves. Like, no, nobody looked like Adam Katz ever been a slave. Yeah, well, I'm just telling you, that's what the book says. And this joker come and got them out of slavery, and you know what they did for the next 40 years? They wondered. Wonder who? They wondered. So that's what people spend most of their time doing. So when I say that, I'm referring to my buddy Katz's people who wondered. So the people that escaped from Egypt never made it to the promised land because they were wondering. Does that make sense? They were wondering, so they never... Okay, I just want to make sure you understand. That's 2 different words. If you wonder if it's right, and then if you wander in the woods. I know that's 2 different words. Did you know that it was 2 different words? Wandering. Rednecks don't say wandering, they say wandering. Is this bothering? That's why people get so crazy on things that I don't get crazy about. And then things they don't get crazy about, I get crazy about them. Does that make sense? Like, I'm going to tell y'all this. I mean, you go to see my guns. I got them decorated Confederate, baby. South's going to rise again, right? I don't give a flying you know what. But, Bo, when that song plays, country song, I'll be like, South's going to rise again, man. I'm all into it. But then if you argue with me, I'll be like, I don't really care. I don't give a crap. You know why? Because my granny, aunt, somebody's cousin gave me this book, and I got to looking at it. My great-great-granddaddy's from Pittsburgh. I'm a daggum Yankee. I'm a daggum Yankee. I'm not a city divided. I'm not a house divided. I'm a body divided. How do people get so psycho over that? Where do they decide to get psycho over stuff like that? So what do you get psycho over about, Andy? And what do you not? So that's the big trick right there. Is what I ain't psycho about and what I am psycho about and when I'm psycho about it, when I'm not psycho about it. And I'm telling you, I do not like wondering. Does that make sense? I want to know. I'm going to get to the bottom of this thing. I ain't got time. Let's figure it out. This is interesting to try to get people where I want them to go. Okay? So when I make that reference to wandering from Mount, you go like, you have no idea what he's talking about. He then went into his buddy Katz, who goes back to Abraham, which is a bloodline, and from Israel, and they were, it's too much to even explain to you. Just don't wonder, let's get the facts. Does that make sense? Let's just get to the facts. It helps when I have Adam here, because he can get up here and he's just into that. Now, you could say, what do they believe, and what's the religion, and then you got baptized, and now you're a Christian, and then, hey, are you a Baptist, you're a Methodist, or, I love this new one, I'm a non-denominational. All right. To be uncommitted, you are committed. I've noticed. You're awfully committed to that non-committed group of people. And you know what I say? They've got better music at those non-denominational places. It's dang close to country. Okay. Is everybody take really good notes on that last part? It's like Europe. I don't get in. This is off subject, but I like to ask people, where is the country of Europe? And people start giving me directions. And then I ask them, is Europe a country? And they go, I'm not sure. And then somebody says it's a group of countries. Then I say, is it 3? And I just like it because people, and if you don't know this, don't feel bad, because and I didn't know a lot of this stuff. I didn't know. I don't know if you remember saying this to me, Spencer. Spencer's right here. It's my son. He's 21 years old. I remember him saying to me, we were in a country somewhere, and they were talking about their religion and their government, and he said, me and you are not that smart. But because we've been places, we know more than other people know that ain't been here before. You remember that? You don't remember that? I thought it was funny. I was like, that's true, because I don't know anything, but I've been there 3 times. I've seen the bridge. I've seen the tower. The Paris. It's just Paris. We just got back from Paris, and what's the name of the tower? The Eiffel Tower. It's like a fire tower up in the country. It's just bigger. It's just steel. But people are like, it's the Eiffel Tower. It's just bigger than a fire tower. That's all. Does that make any... I've had dinner in the Eiffel Tower. We had dinner up there. You had dinner up there. It's a big tower. It's cool. It's really pretty. It makes great pictures, and people are real impressed. Does that make... yay. And I'm crazier. I take more pictures than everybody does of that. But yet I'm thinking, this thing is a fire tower. People that get this will learn skills faster. They'll learn hand movements. They'll learn how to stand. They'll learn how to talk in the house. It's skills. It's little things that make things work. People that get this will be in better health. Therefore, they can work longer. They can work harder. They don't fall asleep as quick. They don't need as much sleep. They have more energy to produce. By the way, this so you know, is athletic coaching, not life insurance coaching. But every single thing applies. Oh, if you're building a church, coaching. If you build a church and if your parishioners, your congregation, your members, these people are in better health. They can work longer, make more money, so 10% of their tithe is 10% of a bigger number. See how that works? So a church whose preacher has all people that are about dead. And I know this church. I'm not speaking of them. I know this church. All 18 of them are about dead. So they'll call us up occasionally and say, hey, Andy and Jane, could you remodel it? Yeah, boom, $5,000. You with me? So, but if they were in better health and they had younger people, and the people that were older were in better health, they could work longer and continue to produce. Does that make any sense? Like if you want to do, okay, number 3, they need shorter rehabilitation time when they get in an accident, okay, or when something happens. So if an athlete, if they're doing this 3D strategy and they hurt their knee, they'll recover quicker. Not kidding. Like physiologically, they heal faster. When a person's father dies, he will get over it quicker and go back to work quicker. When he goes through a divorce, when a child dies, when a child gets sick, when their parent dies, when they have cancer, what happens is they come back quicker when you encompass the 3D message. So some coaches, college coaches, when their kid gets hurt, he's out 10 weeks. Other coach, kid's only out 6 weeks. Same accident. Attributed to this 3-dimensional strategy, 3-dimensional coaching. More adaptable to new conditions. More of a gamer. More of, they're just tricky people. Like, have you ever seen a thing where a guy's got the ball out of bounds and he's got to throw it in, and he's got to throw it in bounds and nobody's guarding him, and then there's a guy here who's guarding the other team, like doing it, and then the guy just throws the basketball and it bounces it off his back, and then he steps in and grabs the ball? You know what I'm talking about? That's a gamer, right? Or a guy who goes in and he's up in the air and he can't shoot, and then he just throws it up and lobs it up to his buddy and he slams it. It's like, how do they come up with these crazy ideas? They're not standard. It's the 3D coaching. I was thinking about examples. When the Ark came out, different people reacted differently. The Careys, who have been through this 3D stuff and thinking process, they came out with the ERS system and their profitability went through the roof. See, it has nothing to do with the Ark. It has to do with them in a new environment. They excel. They think of something. Does that make sense? Like they're gamers. They're creative. They're less. They fear failure less. They're more apt to try something. They're more apt to, okay. One person calls up a guy and he said he didn't mail in the lead, must be the wrong name, he gives me a different name. Hangs up. A gamer says, well, fantastic, congratulations, you have won the lucky opportunity for me to stop by, you're going to be there at 6:30. So why would you do that? To sell life insurance. But the gamer says, I don't care if you didn't mail it in, I'm going to see you. Does that make sense? The gamer makes a sale at a house and then goes across the house, goes over there, goes here, and goes to all the houses around the house because he's crazy. Or he's smart. Which is it? Crazy, smart. He's a gamer. He's an accomplisher. And he's not scared he's going to make a mess. And he don't call me and say, hey, listen, oh, I love this. Hey, Andy, can I talk to you a minute? Yes. Because I'm thinking, they're already talking to me. So they're already on my nerves. Because I love it when people say, you're so patient. You're the most patient person. If you're calling me patient, you should call me the biggest faker you ever know. Because inside, I'm going, go on with your questioning. God. Andy, I got a question. Let's suppose that I'd booked an appointment. And I'm like, where's this going? I booked an appointment, what city they booked it in, how many people was there, and you just on and on and on in this story. Like, I've never heard a story such as this. You went to their house. Okay, is it okay if I ask them to call their neighbor? I guess so, I think yes. So, is it okay if I ask them to call their neighbor? Yes. Is there more questions? But I had to listen to this story for 8, 7, 9 minutes of how they got there. A gamer would call me and say, "You ain't gonna believe this, Bo." I'd be like, "Tell me how they went down." I went to his house, got me a check, and made them call 7 people. They booked me 7 appointments. Andy, I've got a question. See what I'm saying? Like, really? You thought I was going to care? Tonight at 9 o'clock. Yeah. Oh, and they're legit. Well, my upline told me to check upline before I ever do anything for the first time. Go to the bathroom this week? Ever done it sitting down? God. 3D, they start doing stuff that makes common sense. We're trying to keep the other team from scoring, steal it. Well, I had one more foul left, and it was 1 second, and I was wondering, foul him! Break his neck! You know what I mean? Like a gamer don't say, "What do you think? It's 1 second to go," punch him in the face. You know what I mean? Like let's move on and win the game. Gamers are people that are 3D, that they get the whole concept, they just move like that. Just kind of a little bit making sense. So tonight at 9 o'clock, Danny Johnson, Danny's one of the good guys, okay? I go back, by the way, it took me 13 years to recruit Danny. Every year, 2 or 3 times a year, I'd call him up and beg him and plead with him. And he said, "I didn't think we were supposed to beg and plead people. I am a gamer. I don't care what you think." I wanted Danny and Lori in business with me. And by the way, the 13th time, here's what happened. I was taking Haley back to school. It was her sophomore year. You can do the math on all this, Dad. Sophomore year, I know what parking lot I was in, and I called him one more time. Haley was in the car. I said, "Danny, what are you doing?" "You need to get this insurance thing." I said, "Put Lori on the phone. I'm talking to Lori." Not, "Hey, let me call and check with somebody. Is it okay if I get mad with somebody that I asked to speak to her wife?" I didn't ask nobody. I said, "You put Lori on the call." Now, this is 13 years into it. I said, "Lori, your husband needs to do this business with me. Would you give him permission? Because I think he's scared of you." "I don't care what he does." I said, "Well, get him where he can hear it." So I said, "Can you hear her saying she don't care?" I said, "Lori, why don't you just tell him to do it?" She said, "Danny, you need to do it." I said, "There you have it. Got a family reunion coming up in 2 weeks. I need for you to be there." His first opportunity meeting was a family reunion. He said, "Why didn't you get him started right away?" "I was busy. I got a bunch of different organizations going." I said, "You get up here." He came walking in, and I started introducing him to people. You with me? Front row, family reunion was his first opportunity meeting. But it was after 13 years. Well, guess what? He calls me this week. "Andy, I tell you something," which that's the way it should start out. "I got to tell you something." I said, "What happened?" He said, "I started getting referrals." I said, "Oh, no, you didn't." He said, "Call me stupid, call me names," but I finally started getting referrals. I said, I hate to ask you this, but I feel like I'm a good manager. I need to follow up. Did you call them?" "I did. I called them up." I made $6,000 in sales this week off of free leads. He said, "Can you believe how many years I've been doing this and I hadn't decided to do it?" I was like, "I believe you because you're telling me. Now, this is your payback. You got to pay me back something." He said, "What is it?" I said, "I have some people struggling with this. Will you teach them one-on-one?" He said, "Yeah." Well, I got to tell you how I think. He's going to teach them one-on-one, but all you are invited to listen in. Does that make sense? So it's posted on Band that he's going to be teaching this. And by the way, there is an original training on there. I say original. There's another training on it. If you go to Band, is all y'all on Band? Is everybody on Band? You on Band? Okay. If anybody finds somebody that's not on Band, make sure they get an invite. Be like, "How soon?" Now. Yesterday, when you first hire them, ain't hired them, about to hire them, thinking about hiring them, put them on Band. So on Band, if you go up the top where it says important notices, Brant Swindell, it's like 467 people have looked at that, but it's an audio of Tony training the ERS. I would go and listen to that, and then I would listen live to Danny tonight Danny's going to be watching band, so if you got a question, you can post it on band underneath his talk with the questions you have, and he'll try to address those questions that you're asking live on band. Or if you have a question from what Tony did, you can post that live on band. See, I don't want you to wonder. I want you to know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So Danny became a gamer in that category. Oh, this is his gamer part. He said, and guess what I did? You know what I guess. Y'all know Danny. You don't know Danny. He talks like I'm talking. He's like, you don't love this right here, Bo. He makes me sound like a city slicker. He said, I take a selfie with the client and I send it to their friend and say, I helped them out. I need to come over and talk to you. I mean, he'll tell you what he says. But I thought that was innovative, that he takes a selfie. You know, Danny's not like 19 years old. He's like my age, maybe. I think he's older than me, as a matter of fact. Taking selfies. Silly. And then sends them that. You tracking with me? He didn't call me. He didn't tell me this whole long story and then ask me if it was okay if he sends a selfie. I don't care. Does that make sense? Like, I don't care. Like, get the ball in the hoop. Keep the puck out of the net. Get the bread in the oven. Get the car in the garage. All this blah, 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 blah stuff. We want somebody that's going to get it. We believe that after you walk out as ACT, if we do it right, that'll be you. You'll be one of those people. Does that make sense? It has a lot to do with your availability, of your availing yourself, of you letting some of this stuff sink in. Okay? All right, big advantages to 3D coaching. All right. Here's a big one. They learn life lessons better. They don't just get the basics of bouncing a ball. They understand life lessons, character, principles, ethics. They get that a lot clearer. Okay, here's the simple overall to just say, oh, let's go with this. If you just want to go with this one statement. Placing long-term personal relationships at a higher priority than short-term achievement. Long-term relationships, higher priority than short-term achievement. I'll do it a different way, Terry. If I like you and Tia, which I fell in love with y'all first day I met you, but you didn't start writing 30,000 or 20,000, you didn't start annuities, but we were still buddies immediately. Does this make sense? Teresa, immediately we're texting and talking and we're friends. And I ain't asked you how much you sold and how much you issued. I care and I want to know. And I remember trying your name 50,000 times in Vegas, because I remember, like, if I was sitting here, y'all were sitting right there the first time, and then you came back and sat in a different seat the next time, which confused me really bad. I think y'all went back to the right. Everhart? Veray, that is correct. Veray and Jake. Okay? But I've been trying my best since that day to get your name right. And Jake, I got that. Veray. Long-term relationships, way bigger than short-term results. So if you hate a person and are getting great results, probably going to be a problem. What if you like them and they're getting great results? Fantastic. But liking and relationships is huge. I'll get to that. Okay. If you are listening to me thinking that you can change a person or change you instantly, we're dead. I need for you thinking, if I can help this person change their life, if I can make a difference, if I can be significant, if I can start changing people's lives, then I promise you, your results will be greater. So that contradiction. If you're looking for instant results, we're dead. But if you'll do this, we're going to have greater results. So it's almost contradiction. Well, you said if you do this, we'll get greater results. But I didn't say it would be instant. So you gotta follow that flow of it. But it's the making a difference in a human being's life, regardless of whether they're selling insurance and making you money or whether they get in business with us. Is my 16-year-old in here? Is she still in here? Where? Yeah. Velez. Did you get that impression when I talked to you, Velez? Did you get an impression from me? Huh? What's he saying? About, I want to make a difference. I want to give you a book. I want to tell you some advice, regardless of if we do business together. The relationship more important than the get. If you don't get that, by the way, either I am doing a heck of a talk or it is warmed up in here. Yay, heat and air conditioning, people! It's still not hot. But I noticed that my fingers are turning back not blue. I kept going, dadgum, it's making them blue. But it wasn't the lights. It's got to, okay, I don't want to get back on that subject. All right. Tim Goad comes and preaches for us. He also teaches leadership. He also flies around the country teaching one-on-one. And people go to G5. Here's what he always says. You got to get the heart. You got to get the heart right. You got to get your heart right. You got to get your heart right. So I done talked for an hour. And he talks about getting the heart right. Ed Soto is smoking. Stephen Davies has been this 3D model on him. And Stephen Davies and Tim Goad, and he was at Tim Goad's last night, going crazy. Said, Andy, I'm coming back down here. You won't believe what this is doing to my mind. I go, yeah, and your soul, and your heart, and your physique. Everything's going to change because it's all about making a difference now, not just about the dollar bill. I don't want to confuse anybody with thinking we don't want you to write $20,000 or $30,000 a month right now. I don't want you to confuse yourself. You don't want to take forever. Do it right now. Paul Roberts, same thing. That heart, that's why his business is booming. The people that are working on the heart and the mind and the soul and the body and everything are getting them, and it's growing. It does take time. Some people are already ready. So if they're ready and then you hit them with this, instant results. And I want to get into the parable of the hard land and the rocky land and the weedy land and then the good soul, because there's 4 different kinds of people you're going to be talking to. I'm looking for the good soul, and it'd be good if it was already plowed and had some good cow manure up in there. Which, by the way, I just described Evan Patzer. There's a lot of manure. You with me? He done been plowed. He crazy. Jumps right in, starts right in business. You understand? Maybe you don't know him, but it's a person who's ready, crazy, fanatical, willing to try something, already got their heart on track. You're going to find them, but you're going to deal with a lot of weedy people. You're going to deal with a lot of hard people. You're going to deal with a lot of stony people. And your job is at seeking that land. But when you find the land, then you got to bring the 3D. Okay? All right. So the 3D coaching, first dimension, second dimension, third dimension. The body, the mind, and the spirit. This is how to get the whole person. This is how, if you want to be the whole person, this is what you got to do. If you want to be all in, you want to get started faster, do it longer, and recover from problems, then this is what you got to do. It's got to be head, body, spirit, mind, soul, the whole thing. Those 3 dimensions. All right, so Tim Goad did it. I had him on the phone with Robbie Kraft, and I called him up. Robbie Kraft was there, and Clay, and I said, give us a pep talk, because we were mad about something. I said, give us a pep talk. He said, we got to get the people to do the work, and we need to get people to do the work the way they need to do the work. Does that make sense? I'm running appointments like crazy, Andy. Right. I'm not getting no checks. Using up my leads. You're burning up God's gas. And you can't afford a Tesla. Because they're doing the work, but they're doing it the wrong way. Getting checks without getting referrals. Getting checks without green sheets. Tim Go said, you got to get them to do the work. And they got to do the work the way they need to do the work. I was like, yeah, that'd be great. But some people, that'll just go over their head. It's a lot said in that statement. We got to get people to do the work the way they need to do the work. We got to get them to execute the basics. We got to get them to do what's in the green book. It's like what I was talking about, the temperature, right? Now, and if that temperature goes up to about 78, then I'll be screaming again. Does that make sense? Like I'll be screaming again. And if they said it's hard to regulate, I go, tell me about it. How many of you already know what I'm saying is hard to regulate? The people, is it Veray? Yes. How long did it take you, Jake? Did you get it first time or? You called her Ray. Don't say that. That'll mess me up for another month. Everray. See, Veray. He messed me up. Veray. Okay? Valez. All right. What's your first name? Last name? That's what I was going to guess. I don't know why I didn't. I chickened out. I wasn't a gamer there for a second. Dieter. Is this making sense? Okay. We need to get people to do the work. So if you say, well, how about me? Well, do the work the way you need to do the work. Don't do the work halfway. Don't come in talking about, and people do this to me. So I go, are you putting in about 100%, 40%, 50? And they'll give it this. I figure I'm doing about 70. I'm like, bro, don't be proud of that. They go, well, I'm telling the truth. You believe in honesty, don't you? Yeah, but I'm not big on stupidity. So you're an honest, stupid person. They don't negate. What do you want me to do? Lie? No, 100%. I don't want you to lie. I want you to do 100%. Well, I can't. I have a situation I'm up under. Well, get out from under it. Get up on top of the situation. We need 1,000 people selling 3,000 to 4,000 a week. And we need about 50 people selling 20,000 a week. This is what Tim was telling us. I was like, hey, I can't argue with that logic right there. And then he said we need to get people recruiting faster. I was like, well, dadgummit. Inspirational talk sounds like to me I'm talking to my boss. This is a big one right here. This one you can write down, especially you guys that are listening out there. Diane Lampy, with your Salt Lake City people. Assimilation is not retention. Relationships is retention. So we got to hire them, and we got to keep them, and we got to get them getting results. That's 3D coaching. That's 3D teaching. I hired a bunch of people. None of them stuck with it. Yeah, that's called no retention. What do you think? Like, is any of those people still your best friend? Nope. They won't even return my text. You're not really good at building relationships, are you? Well, all these people were dumb. You picked them. You know, like if you're in a restaurant and you got a waiter that's doing a great job and really nice and you really like them, there's your guy. If you go down to the courthouse and the clerk that checks you in, if you're going to the gas station, the person behind the counter, if you get some gas and the other person's talking to you and asking you about your car and nice to you, there's your person. We got to get people recruiting better people. We got to get them. I mean, it's just, and hello, do you know? It's like Danny Johnson. And when you know them and you get them. Retention is relationships. Relationships is retention. Assimilation, that gets them doing the right stuff, but it's nothing there when the stuff is gone or when we run into a broke hamstring or a daddy dies. If all you have is assimilation and there's no relationship, they're not going to recover quickly from a problem, and they're not going to be able to fight through a problem. I have people fight, this is make you mad, but this is along the lines of Jeff Bright when he says, you're not special. I've got people fighting through stuff, writing $10,000 a month, $15,000 a month, with twice as many things happen to them in their past and they're going through now than you. And you go like, impossible. You want to bet? Because we can get you on stage and get the other person to tell all their problems and get you to tell all your problems, and then you tell us who's got more problems. And then here's what you hit me with. But it affects me differently. Hamstring affects you differently than a hamstring fix. Does that make sense? You're telling the truth. You're telling the truth. Who's coaching you? Who's working with you? Are they doing the 3D method? Are you using the 3D method? This is something else Goad said. He said, we got to get people comfortable with 200 people in their hot spot and not just comfortable with 15 or 20, because it stays at 15 or 20. So when more people come, they figure out a way to make them mad so they don't stay. They figure a way to embarrass them so they don't stay. People say, I'm not embarrassing my people. I'm not making them feel little. I'm not doing anything wrong, but mine's not growing. You see, that's where you're wrong. You're doing something wrong. Because if it's growing here and not growing there, you're not doing the same thing. Are you keeping it too hot in the room? Do you have cliques? I was in one room one time and they had these sayings, and they'd all say these sayings, and if a person didn't know the sayings, they'd kind of shun them. So the new people couldn't get in the group. Yeah, like a church, some churches. Some churches like that, but I'm thinking more, what are the colors? What do you call them, colors? And they have signs. Gangs. Yeah, gangs. Yeah, gangs are not big on that. They don't let you in. You have to do something psycho-lunatic to get in, but I want to make it easy to people getting in my hot spot. I don't have to kill somebody to join. You don't have to rob nobody or run over nobody. Just join. But with gangs, you got to do something to get in. So some of the hot spots are like a gang. You got to do something to get in. You got to be something to get in. You got to color something. You with me? That don't make no sense to me. Comfortable with a bigger group. Comfortable with more people writing business. Comfortable. By the way, you have more people in a meeting, you're going to have more problems. Got to get comfortable with more problems, because more people, more problems. All right. Okay, so first dimension is physical. That has to do with the do and the dials. If a person's not doing the do, this is terrible. If they're not making 500 dials, this is terrible. This is physical. If you have an athlete who can't run and won't run, can't jump and won't jump, you're going to have a terrible team. If you have a team that people won't do the dials, they won't talk like they're supposed to talk, they won't follow the script, then their physical part is terrible. We've got to teach the physical. People get up here, been going to a meeting for 2 months, and they'll stand here, both hands in the pocket and hands crossed, just like this. And I want to go like, who's teaching you the physical part? T-shirts on. You're just like, who's teaching them the physical part? And then you ask them, they're making dials, and you're shocked when they're not making dials. Like, look at the way their pants are going. You know, there's no way they're making dials. They can't get their hands out of pockets to reach the phone. You know, they're trying to look at it. The physical part. Second part is the mind and the emotional part. It's really the second part is emotions. Write that down. Second part is the emotions. Your emotions are controlled by your mind and your heart. Your attitude and your effort are tied into your emotions. If you want, so watching what people do How many calls did you make? Did you go to the hotspot? Was your rear end in the meeting on time? That's physical. Now, when you're there, are you happy? Do you have your right attitude and your right effort? So if you miss teaching them this part, you're screwed. If you miss teaching them this part, you're screwed. If you teach them this part and they react, and this part they react, you're starting to get a winner. Does that make sense? Attitude, effort, emotion. It's their mind and their heart. You watch it. People say, how do you fix their physical? You coach. How do you get their mind and emotional? Relationship. People don't care how much you know until they see how much you care. Does that make sense? If people don't think you care, then they don't have any emotional control whatsoever. But when a guy cares, when a girl cares, when a family cares, when you invite them over to your house and it's inconvenient and it's hard and you have to sacrifice for them and you take time away from your child, take time away from your television. I start missing a television show to talk to you. I put that thing on pause and talk to you. That's a whole different game right there. But I know people won't do that. They'll say, I'll talk to you in the morning at 9:30 when I'm in the office, because it's inconvenient to cut that television off. Yeah, all the time. All the time, that's what they do. If you don't care and they don't think you care, then they don't care what you know and what you can teach them. Come to my office. We're in Tennessee. I don't want to go to Tennessee. We're in Chicago. I don't want to go to Chicago. You're in Houston. I don't want to go there. You with me? But people want you. They want their downline. People do it all the time. I'm going to let me look out here. I got people in this state. You ever went to see them? Nope, but I'm trying to get them to family reunion. I go, man, that's convenient. You go, yeah, smart, ain't it? I go, yeah, why don't you get them come in a day early and meet everybody? That's what I'm going to do. Like, everybody in the world is doing that, right? That's not inconvenient. Does that make sense? They don't want to come this week or next week. They want to come the day before a family reunion because it's convenient. And then people don't want to go see them. But I expect everybody that I have spent insane amount of time away from my wife, and I've seen them, I expect them at family reunion. But if they don't come, that's their choice. They know how much I sacrifice. Does your team know how much you sacrifice? Do they know how late you are? Do you know how much you've traveled and you've sacrificed time? You understand the value you have on something is directly proportional to the cost. What have you paid to get him here? Well, I talked to him for like an hour and a half on the phone. Woo-hoo. You with me? I drove 16 hours and I met with him for 2 days and stayed at his house and bought him dinner, and then I drove back home. I go, did you not have any other agents in between you could have stopped at? They go, Andy, you never stop. I go, no, in 24/7, baby.
That's right.
Does that make sense? Inconvenience. People care when they see that you care. Mind, heart, emotion. So the first is physical, next is emotional. I'm going to real quick, mind, emotional, heart. Motivation, confidence, and emotions. I spend a lot of time on emotions. Oh, you got to coach people this too. On emotions, Adrian, there's good emotions and there's bad emotions. You got to teach people the difference. That young man, Valez, said, I said, do you get offended real weird liberal this or that or real strong conservatives? And he said, no, what I care about is freedom. I went, that is an emotion, baby. Go with that. See, that I'll fight for. That somebody getting ready to go down. Does that make sense? You start messing with freedom, I get mad. Does that make sense? It's hard. People try. It's hard to get me to talk religion. We were on a plane the other day, and that thing did a boom, boom, boom. And we had some Jehovah's, some Witnesses, some Methodists. We had some non-denominational. We had some cricket believers. And That thing did that right there. I said, shoot, I hope my religion's right. You understand what I'm telling you is, it's hard to get me to argue about whether you going to hell, whether I'm going to heaven, whether I'm going to purgatory, and whether, you with me? That's real hard. But you start saying we're going to lock you up. You start saying you can't say what you're going to say. You start trying to take my freedom, Albright gets all cray-cray. I'm a freedom commit. Does that make sense? That's an emotion or a belief that I can get behind, as opposed to, I'm so mad these people won't let me. Calm down. Who cares? Why are you going off on that? This person said, who is that person? My mama. Who cares? She had sex how many years ago? It probably ain't the only time. Could be. And that particular time got you. Who cares what she thinks? You just don't understand. You're right, I don't. Freedom, baby. This is a good emotion. That one's an emotion that I can't figure out. I don't know how we deal with that. That emotion, what you're arguing about, so I coach them on what's good emotions. Love, relationships, long-term, belief, integrity, character, principles. Times have changed, Andy. Nowadays, people just sleep around and they just shack up and everybody's okay with it. Have you read the Bible? They did the same thing. What's the name of that place we were at? What's the place that got the soot, filled it up with soot? No, not Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, Pompeii. We was at Pompeii. Pompeii. How can I say this the most diplomatically? Who's been to Pompeii? Tell them how they, don't answer this, James, but I want to say, tell them how they give directions to get to the whorehouse. The way that they give directions there. They have directional signs. Directional signs pointing in the right direction. Directional signs pointing. You want me to tell you what the directional sign is? I'm not telling you. But that thing is pointing on the walls. You're like, there's a statue of one pointing. You tell me, but things are different now, Andy. It's more out in the open. That thing right there. Oh, it's different now. Oh, really? It's different now. You with me? Like what I'm telling you is character, integrity, all these things you start trying to talk people. And I heard this one person said, well, he's doing it. And I like this, one of my buddies, he said, I hold myself to higher standards than he does. Ooh. My boy, who said, like this girlfriend's talking, this guy's doing this, and this guy says, I hold myself to higher standards than he does, apparently. So what happens is this person will recover quicker. Does that make sense? Like, you're trying to get the whole thinking. Is this helping? Not just this, not just this. Now, and then a lot of people go here on me. Well, I ain't perfect. I go, welcome to my club of not being perfect. I got a big club of that people. Y'all have heard, you can't wait until you're perfect to try to be perfect. You can't wait to be perfect to get back on the perfectness. Does that make sense? People are like, you on keto? I say, yes, ma'am. Since 11 o'clock last night, I am 100% on keto. How you doing on your television? I ain't watched none today. Or it's been a week with no law and order. 1 week. How about that? Does that make sense? In other words, there's never a time to try to get perfect, but people trying to do it, not ignoring the wrongness totally, and then this wrongness, and this wrongness, and this wrongness. It's that, you with me? You trying to stay with me? Confidence and belief. People don't believe they can do it, so you got to instill confidence in them. What's your name? Rachel? Michael? Michael? Let me tell you this. I'm going to tell you. I've done this before. Stand up. Who hired you, Michael?
Brandon Beal.
Brandon Beal?
Yeah.
Okay. See, like I've been doing this for a long time. You might not know this. You got everything it takes to build this business inside of you.
Great.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
My job is to get it out.
Okay.
but it's in.
It is.
You got to get it out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you got to tell people this. People say, well, she already knows this. I go, well, did you know this?
No.
Sometimes they say, yeah, I know this. I said, do you know how to get it out? No. Well, then I got to tell them how to get it out.
Yeah.
He says, that makes sense. This is confidence. This is where confidence comes from. You can do it. You can hit the ball. You can play ice hockey. You can get rich. Let me tell you something. Getting rich, making money. I'm a whole lot more confident that you can get rich and make money than you can play ice hockey, especially if you ain't never skated before. Does that make sense? That's why I like business more than athletics. People say, you like athletics? Well, I like NC State. That's questionable sometimes whether it's athletic or not when it's NC State, right? But we're in a top 13th, number 13th recruiting class in football this year. I texted Dave Dorn and said, hey, congratulations. I showed it to you. I texted him last night. I said, brother, everybody says you are killing it. Congratulations. He come back. Appreciate it, man. We're trying the best we can. Hope your family's well. That's how I do athletics. Does that make sense? Like, I know him. To me, that's a dream come true athletically to be texting with the coach. Because I know boys that can play ball that can't talk to him. I can. I can ride with him. I guarantee you, first game, I'm going to give him this right here and might get a hug for the kickoff, like on the sideline. That's athletics right there. But I can show you how to make money. I can show you how to be happy. But I don't know if I can show you how to dunk a ball or hit a ice hockey puck. You with me? This stuff is so simple and it's so easy. All right, last thing in the mind and heart is team cohesion. We're working together. Big team, little me, no I in team and all that stuff. If we can get everybody focused on having more people, if you could get your whole hotspot focused on having more people at the hotspot. Just tracking with me? This is the do, and then this is the mind. I'm going to hit you with a third thing. It's the highest level of these three orders, and that's the combination of the three. Getting people to understand that this affects that. They want to say that don't affect that, and I'm telling you, if you can get the kid when he's in pee-wees and midgets to understand it all ties together, you'll get a Phillip Rivers, you'll get a Russell Wilson. But when the kid thinks the drugs don't matter, you'll get I don't want to speak out of turn, but Charles Shackelford, ain't that what it turned out with him? Drugs. You'll get what's the kid that overdosed from Maryland with that was just bias, Lynn Bias? He never get to play pro, did he? Because he didn't think it tied together. Overdose cocaine. The ones that end up with nothing don't get that it's everything. They don't get it. They try to segment it. Now, can you do okay? Can you make $90,000 a year and be the worst at everything? Yes. Can you make $150,000? Yes. Well, that's what I want. Okay. But you're one split hair from dead. And people talk about you, and it won't be in a good way. Does that make sense? The purpose. Why are you doing this? People fight this. I don't want to do this to change lives. I just want to make money. Me too. That's why I started. I didn't start to change no life. I started to make money. When I started making money, I was like, what else is it? They said, help people. I said, there you go. Since I started doing that, I ain't never had nothing to worry about. I had a million things to do. Money, no more. People, yes. So I started 100%. I'm telling you ahead of time, if you start in to make a difference and want to change lives and start for that reason, it changes everything. Here's what this does. It makes you start to look inside. If I can get you to do that, a life unexamined is not a life worth living. Who are you? What are you? Where do you want to be? Why are you here? Two most important days in my life. The day I was born and the day I discovered why. Two most important days. If your purpose and your passion is not tied to your business, to your strategy, it's not going to stand up to a twisted knee or a daddy dying. But when it's tied into both, you will walk through problems with boldness. because your purpose is bigger than the obstacle, because your dream of what you want to accomplish, because it has to do with eternity. If you can get people in this three-dimensional world and get them thinking like it. What's your name, sir? On the end? Monte. Scream it. Montel? Monte? The GS3 that I'll do in 2 weeks says get started, goal set, and go serve. And it's the mechanical stuff that leads you to do this 3D. So to do the 3D while you're getting them started, fast tracking, while you get them started, getting them a starter kit, you won't be so stingy with everything either when you're getting them started using 3D. You won't be so stingy with your time. You won't be so, this is the only time I can talk to you. You with me? When it's 3D incorporated in to get started. When you goal set, it changes the way you goal set. And when you serve people, it changes the way you serve them. That's March 19th. I'm going to go over this and how to incorporate 3D, but I really thought it would be beneficial to get you that 3D. Does that help y'all a little bit? Hey, this book, I'd get that book. And the morals, integrity, the last part where you put it all three together, that's the highest level of teaching that we do. That's the third dimension. That's when you put all three together. The physical, the mind, and the heart. And then this book's ridiculous. TWC, we love y'all. Who's up next? Chris Hill? Get your mind right. It's been with me 10 years. Smart guy, knows how to sell and recruit. Let's get him up here, Mr. Chris Hill.